tonight we're checking out the Hamilton Crossing Under Lights fundraiser tournament brought to you by Sam Barfield and the Bartow County Parks and Rec Department. Thank you so much for the Bartow County Parks and Rec Department putting this all together. Over 100 players overall signed up and played, and it was a great time. We had county volunteers making sure that safety was recognized, and overall it was a really, really fun temporary course. So hope you guys enjoyed watching.
The director, Greg Hyde, is over here. Along with 7 of his employees have helped put this together, so let's give them a hand. And this is a fundraiser. It's raising money for the Bartow, it's Camp Bartow. Every one of us when we were kids, and some of you are still kids, but I'm looking at him. But y'all remember as kids going to camp, right? And it was fun. Well, we're helping some do that. So feel good about your entry fee, and that's what that's going toward, okay? So thank y'all for doing it. We got a guy that is shooting drone shots, so if you hear a buzz coming in close to your head, Irene, it is not Yellow Jacket. It's that cool, okay?
Okay guys, since I was playing in this one, I wasn't able to get as many people on the footage as I would have liked, but we'll mainly be covering the feature card here. That's Spencer Crawford teeing off, nice smooth backhand down by the road. He's on team Discuits and Gravy with Andrew Bradley here, who threw a rope about 40 feet long in the basket here to start off on hole 4. And we have 3 real strong teams on the cards. It was fun to watch. This is Jonathan Rollins from team Chuck Tuck and Roll. And he puts one down there by the basket as well. And he's playing with Landon Tucker here, one of the higher rated players in the area, along with Andrew, and he puts a really nice backhand right down by the tee. Third team on our card here tonight is my team, the Sultans of Sling. That's Zach Andreasen throwing a flip-up raised backhand there. Puts it just to the right of that big tree. And then myself going forehand down there and hitting the tree, unfortunately. So we'll have a look up here from Zach's shot. Gives it a good run, but skips OB. So I just kind of lay up and get an easy tap in. Andrew and Spencer here going for that dagger from deep, just missing. So they'll settle for a par as well. And Andrew and Landon and Jonathan were able to tap in. Hole 2 is pretty cool. We throwing down here under the baseball field at home plate. Landon goes a little long into the stands, but Jonathan gives it a shot and puts it down there. Gets him about a 25-footer. Andrew throws a hyzer flip rope there and looking great. Just over by the third base dugout. And Spencer's going with a higher hyzer line, and I think he had the closest shot out of all of us, skipping up right near the basket. I go forehand again, got a little bit too high, ended up over by third base, and not quite what I was looking to do there, but not terrible. And Zach goes backhand and ends up just a little bit closer on the first base side. Let's see, we're out on this one. Gives a good run, but not quite enough juice. And then I was just a little bit right of the cage, unfortunately. Landon going with the jump putt. He doesn't like it, but it wasn't that far off. And Jonathan just missing there. Andrew putting from Spencer's drive. Beautiful sunset in the background. He puts it in. Third hole we played here was throwing from the little press box up over this edge onto the left field corner of that field. And
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think Spencer said he had the heebie-jeebies from it. Not the easiest shot for the longer limbed up here. So he's taking the wide hyzer and sticking it down there, kind of in the middle of the center field. Andrew goes with a forehand flex. Interesting, he throws righty forehand and lefty backhand. I'm not sure which is his natural hand, but they both look pretty good. And Jonathan, you could tell, was a little trepidatious on that frame there, but puts it circle two's edge. And then Landon does a very similar thing with it. And they're both like edge of circle too. Zach's trying that forehand line. It was looking pretty good, but bucks out late and doesn't give him quite the line he wants. But I tried my A2 here, and it holds that line to the ground. It's so high you couldn't even really see it come through there, but you'll see where it ended up. Spencer running it from deep, and he almost put that one in. Andrew's forehand was not too far off here either, just coming by the front of the cage. They'll settle for a par on that one. Jonathan and Landon both just coming up a little short. Here's where my drive landed, and Zach will put that one in for a no-drama birdie. 8, we're throwing slightly downhill here. You can't quite see the basket, but it's right by that light pole, right where my disc was fading in there. Zach is also going to take that wide line way out to the left with H1, I think. He ended up right by the pin as well. Then Andrew's going to take the same line on his lefty backhand, really smooth. Looking nice there. I think he was a little long, but good spot. And Spencer goes backhand. I think he faded out a little more than he wanted to, but actually overthrew it a good bit. He threw that one hard. And Landon goes with this like little spinny air bounce putter shot and puts it pretty darn close. Jonathan tries to do something similar. I think his faded out just a little more than they wanted. So this is thrown from Spencer's shot, I think, and he kills it from deep. Great shot. Landon's got his look there from the edge. The bank, puts it in, and Zach tosses our putt in. No drama. Now this one's very cool. You have the basket there in between the cross post, the bottom of the field goal, and you have a triple mando where you have to get it in there. Zach went a little bit wide right, so I'm just going to throw a putter straight at it and leave it a little short, but give us a good shot there. And Spencer doing something very similar. Leaves it a little bit more right, but still very easy putting distance. And overall, this hole could have given people some problems, but I think our card handled it pretty well. Andrew going with the right wider hyzer line, but just right at the post, and he didn't go past it. I think Jonathan put that one more or less exactly where he wanted to, right by the left crossbar. Not crossbar, the base bar. Landon doesn't like his, though, but they didn't need to use it. And there's our benevolent benefactor, Mr. Barfield there. Inception moment. He was taking our picture, and I got his, too. Jonathan taps in there, birdie. And Andrew does the same. And Zach will finish it up. A little star frame there. Now this one's a lot of fun, going over a little bit of OB, trying to get on the playground, and it's a hanging basket inside a tire swing. I'm going with my Lone Star curl there, trying to get it close to the playground. A little short, but got us a putt. Zach tries a similar play with a D2, I think. A little short, but good effort. And then Andrew throws an absolute rope that looks like it went right behind the basket. It skipped out. There was a little bit of a tricky putt on the right side, but great shot. And then Spencer also throws a rocket hyzer out to the right, and it comes back in putting range, just left and long of the basket. Landon's going mid here, and he doesn't like it. He threw it really far, but not quite where he wanted. And Jonathan going driver straight at it and puts it on target. Just a little bit shorter than he wanted, but good spot. They're in circle 2 here. Landon giving it a bid. This one's trickier than it looks because it's hanging in the tire swing, and you have the chain supports actually creating another chain to deflect you on the outside. Jonathan just missing that one there. Andrew's just inside the edge of the playground. Jump putt, dagger from deep. Knocks that in. And Zach's got ours from about 32-ish here. Puts it in as well. So this one's throwing up that hill, and it's on top of a manhole. You can kind of see it up there. Zach's is on target, just a little short. I actually didn't get my shot there, but it ended up being pretty close. And Spencer threw a rocket just past it. And Andrews faded out a little bit more than he wanted there. Not quite the line. Jonathan not too happy with his, but it actually turned enough to where it wasn't too bad. He was up on the hill in a decent spot. And Landon's went right by the basket, but put so much on it he was a bit long. So I think they're putting from Jonathan's shot and just robbed there. But Landon puts it in. Spencer taps in there too. And then Zach will get ours as well. The 12 you're throwing to the baseball field. It's on home plate there. It throws an island, and I'd give it too much hyzer and put it over by the first base dugout. But Zach corrects, and he puts his A2, I believe, right there near the pin.
Great shot.
Andrew just pipes his dead straight at it. Ends up right by the backstop. Great shot there. And Spencer does a little bit higher hyzer line, but he's also in circle one. Landon going putter again. And his is a little spicy, so he ended up hitting the net, but it bounced him back into play. And then Jonathan puts one down there in good range as well. So Spencer tapping in from Andrew's shot. Pretty drama-free there. Good putt. Jonathan does the same. And Zach will put ours in also. A lot of birdies through this middle section here. Zach going forehand on hole 13. Just off the front of the basket. And hits the back of the bleachers there. So since he's close, I'm just trying to run it. But I put a little bit too much on mine there and actually ended up a little past the basket and by the dugout down there. Spencer turns his just a little too much, ends up hitting that post, but it didn't really matter because Andrew just piped this one right down there, right next to the end of the bleachers. They had like a 20-foot putt. Jonathan doesn't like it. A little bit of early release there. But it didn't matter because Landon threw this great turnover shot that kept on riding all the way down and hit the blocks that the basket's on top of there. Spencer from circle's edge, no drama, puts it in. Landon tapping theirs in as well. And Zach tapping ours in too. It was a 3-foot putt. But this is a 60-foot par 3. You have to throw over the backstop from underneath this awning. You saw my forehand over the side there. Got over fine, but actually threw it too far. It ended up at the edge of the outfield. Zach's was a little bit tighter here and looking good. Spencer going with a high backhand hyzer. Ends up about where the second baseman would stand. Andrew doing the same thing from the left side and getting a little bit closer, putting it about 25 short. Landon throwing a grenade-looking shot, looking really nice. I think Jonathan's lands basically on top of it. They had practiced this one and both put it at circle's edge. Zach and I putting from deep. Zach draws some metal there, and mine flirted with the right side chains, but did not manage to get in. And Spencer sneaking one in from deep for the only birdie on that hole. Tricky hole. Throwing at the playground now, and Andrew puts one right there with a spike hyzer line on the left side. Spencer tries to run it, and this one ends up really close. Hits some pipes right near the basket. Zach throwing Berg here. Great line. Heading in, and he hits those front pipes as well. So, as he does when I'm close, I'm trying to run it with something overstable. Hit the roof pyramid there, and it actually bounced out of bounds, but it didn't really matter because he was in a great spot. Jonathan going spike hyzer. I think he actually hit the slide and rolled to an awkward position. But Landon goes putter and puts it around the backside there for a pretty good look. So Andrew's lining up the turbo here, which I think is a valid play because he's trying to put it over that bar to sink down in. Just not quite enough height. And Spencer coming in with the hyzer putt and just a little too much height, I think, on his. So Zach and I are a little closer, but still really tricky with these bars, and he's not able to sneak his in. I go extreme hyzer on that left side and my floppy swan managed to sit down, so we're all good here. And Landon hits those bars just like Zach did, but Jonathan with an Anheuser putt going through them and making it look easy. So on hole 16, we're throwing out over this big like drainage pond that's dry right now, and the basket's on top of that drainage culvert. Mine's off to the circle's edge on the right, and Zach puts it circle's edge short, looking really nice. Landon pipes this one, hits the fence behind the basket, gave them a really good shot. And Jonathan doing something similar, but I think his faded out just a little bit shorter. It's kind of hard to see through that lens flare. I think that's Spencer's shot, which ended up being a little bit long, but in good position up on the hill. Yeah, and there's Andrews. And I think he faded out to the right a little more than he wanted. So they're putting from Andrews here. And just missed a little bit low by Spencer. Really great run. And Andrew just sails that jump putt just a little bit. Good line, though. Zach putting from his lie here. Great putt. Landon putting theirs in. No drama. Looking really good. With 17 playing over the parking lot here, it's probably just circles, depth in, and Zach runs it great, puts right into the basket. And I go with my stego and do a very similar shot to the other side. Jonathan goes with that wide hyzer line. It comes back, but not quite as much as he wanted. Landon doing a very similar thing with a putter, I think. And they have a good shot, but it's a little short. And here's Andrew, lefty hyzer, and puts it just behind the basket. Spencer lining up a spike on the right side. See that one coming in, and he was just a little bit more right, I think. And Jonathan with highway robbery there, his bouncing out. They'll take a par. Andrew taps in. Easy two, and Zach does as well. So on 18, it's over underneath those Leland cypresses near the fence. So I'm just cannoning a fairway driver down there and putting it close. And Zach has a little bit of a grip lock there. It actually hit the fence and bounced within about 2 trees of the basket, but not quite what he was looking for. And Spencer turned this one over. He was not very happy with it, but it actually hits and rolls around and ends up at the edge of the circle just a little bit further than that short. And Andrew threw that one so hard it didn't have a chance to come back, so I think they ended up going with Spencer's shot. Landon lining up the forehand, and he looks away, but he almost hits the group on the 19th hole there. And Jonathan making it look nice with that S-curve backhand. They'll give him a putt. Andrew just missing on the left side with that jump putt, looking really good. And Spencer, I thought this one was in the whole way, but just catches the nubs at the bottom there. And then Landon hitting the band all over it. And we're tucked behind this. And I thought Zach's putt was in, but he's going to make me do some work. So crouching putt, but managed to get it to stick. 19, it's got to have more than 18 holes because the Sam Barfield design here. Zach going with a wide hyzer shot, making it look great. So I try to flash it across the chains and just about got it with a skip there, but a little bit short. Andrew going with, I think it was a Thunderbird he threw here. And it was on a great line, but he caught more skip than intended. So ends up a little more than circle 1 on the right side. But it didn't really matter because Spencer just pured it and put it pretty darn close to the basket. Buttery backhand there.
Right across the back.
Jonathan throwing, I don't know what that yellow disc was, but he was throwing it a lot and throwing it really well. Puts it in the circle to the left side. And then Landon going with a putter again, despite this one being around 300 feet. And puts it right by the pin. And Andrew just straight daggering that circle 2 jump putt. Jonathan knocks his in, and then Zach with a solo birdie on that one. So we're going back to 1. I'm teeing off and got psyched out by the crossbars there. I probably wouldn't have thrown backhand if given the chance again, but Zach does a little bit better, not getting freaked out by it, and puts us just beyond circle one. Spencer showing us more how it's done here, doing that nice wide hyzer line from a little further back. And Andrew trying a right-handed roller here. Actually not a bad idea, but it curls over to the left a little bit too much for him. Landon throws this shot great, just doesn't come back. And Jonathan finally shows us how to throw this hole correctly and puts it right in there on the kind of muddy bank behind it. Giving it a run, but not quite enough, missing those left side chains. Andrew from circle's edge will put theirs in. Then Landon putting from Jonathan's lie will put it in as well. Hole 2 is kind of a tricky one. You got the ball fields over on the left side. Spencer just manages to stay in bounds. That sidewalk is out of bounds here. And Andrew throws this great flip-up shot that rides straight for a long time. I think he's safe as well. Jonathan going with this big backhand and hyzer, and he ends up in perfect position. Landon's going to line up a forehand here, and hits the foul pole. So Zach's going with a backhand. He turns a little bit too much, ends up over in the trees, and then it spits down by that drainage ditch. So I go with overstable mid-range here so I can make sure it sits down and end up putting this a little short, but with a good putt. There's Zach from my lie here, and we get the 2, no problem. Spencer throwing from, I think that was his shot. And then we all ended up getting birdies on that. So our second to last hole, number 3. And this one almost feels like when you would see at the Memorial or even some of the old school tournaments where it's got a lot of OB long, OB left. Andrew threw a great shot, but he ended up in the OB in the road. And Spencer actually went just past the basket straight. So they're both out of bounds. And Landon pumps a rope into Floyd County over there. So if anyone finds a disc in the Berry College parking lot, send it back to Landon Tucker. As Jonathan throws a rope up there onto the hill. I'm going forehand, trying to get it to skip up that hill, but it gets up pretty close and kind of nestles there at the bottom of it. And Zach grip locks a little bit there, and he's not too happy with that one. So Jonathan, great run, and actually ends up staying in bounds on the median there, just barely, with the OB right behind. And Landon's so close, hits that rim and gets a roll away. And it's coming all the way back to him. Taking kind of a half run from there to keep it in bounds, hit the basket, but stops just short. And Zach gave it a great run, but ends up hitting the band. So we're all going to take 3s on this one. Andrew taps theirs in from just inside the OB, and Spencer with that BTS backhand right there. That is smooth like butter, hitting just under the basket. And then Andrew piping one that actually ended up settling down just inside the cross tie, where they had a shot up the slide. That's very cool. Jonathan gives it just a little bit too much, ends up out of bounds on the left side. And then Landon makes a similar mistake, so they're putting from the drop zone. Trying to avoid a similar error there. Zach hangs it out a little bit too wide and just fails to make it back inside the cross tie because this is playing as an island. I go envy straight at it and hit right on the slide, keeps me in bounds, so we'll have a putt. Andrew knocks theirs in right up the slide there, and Zach trying to get ours in, hits the band, and mine goes in and out, and I could not believe it. So Land's putting from the Bumblebee, that is the drop zone, and puts it in. And Jonathan, we made him putt it from the Bumblebee, even though it was already in, for fun. Zach taps us in for the par, and that was our round. So we ended up shooting 44s there with team Discuits and Gravy and Sultans of Sling, and then Chuck, Tuck, and Roll, Landon and Jonathan were at 46, I think. So a couple of good rounds. Thank you so much to Bartow County, Parks and Rec, and Sam Barfield for putting this together. Hopefully we raise some good money for the camp. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night.